Hi, welcome to this first part of this three-part tutorial series, video tutorial series about Blender and content generation for game engines. All right, I'm going to tell you everything I know, how you can create content inside Blender and how you can then import it inside a game engine. Okay, before you can continue, you need Blender in order to do this tutorial. Also, you need to have Unity and or Unreal Engine installed. These are all free tools. You can just register and download, and then you can then you can go ahead with the tutorial. Then you can continue. Okay, download, you can go to blender.org and then you can download your specific version. Download Blender for Windows, for instance, and then you can have here, you can just pick your installer. All right, I already installed everything, so I'm going to start Blender. Double click, Blender. All right. Okay, when you start Blender, you won't see this like I do. You need to adjust some settings here. Go to File, User Preferences, and in these preferences, you can change the where is it? Input. You set the presets to 3ds Max. This is my preference. You can use another preset, but I like 3ds Max best, so I can just work with left click, select with the left click. That's a normal way of doing that. All right. So I can use the theme. You can change the presets to. I have it at Science Lab, but you can change it to soft image, but I like Science Lab best. So in the system as well, you have something called a region overlap. You can click this, and if you look at the left side here, you can region overlap. You get more space available. So this pane here is semi-translucent, and then you have more working space available. I like to do that there as well. Since you're already in this screen, you can go to compute device. It says none here. So there is no extra compute device. If I have a GPU available, I can select this here. I suggest you do that as well, because with the GPU as a compute device, your renderings will be much faster. Okay, add-ons. We need 3 add-ons. One of them is already installed on your machine. That's called Loop Tools. So you can go to Loop Tools and then click this button here. The other one is called Bool Tools. Object Bool Tool. Bool Tool, I already enabled it, is not present on your Blender, and when you start, you need to download it. If you Google Bool Tool, I'm gonna do it, Bool Tool and then Blender, you're gonna get this extension site from blender.org. You can go to current version download. It's on GitHub. And then you can just press the latest. There's a raw file, and then view raw, it'll download it. I already have several downloaded, so you can open the raw file with an unraw or winraw or winzip or 7-zip. I have it open here, 7-zip.org. You can just select one of these downloads, and 7-zip is a free alternative for the tools I just mentioned, WinZip and WinRAR. 7-zip is my favorite because it's free and it works great. It also unzips or unraw's raw file, so you can use that tool to unraw, right? So okay, that's stop here. Code Bool Tool. Okay, that's one Bool Tool, and of course you need to install it. So what I did is install from file. I will go to the directory where the downloads are, and then Bool Tool, and you can just double click this, and you should select this one here, because it's disabled, but now it's enabled again. So you should enable it once you install it from file, enable the Bool Tool. There's one more thing I want to show you is Bmax, and that's a very nice productive tool. It has all the most used shortcuts for 3D modelers under the right mouse button, and in order to get there, you should also do this. Google, you can Bmax Blender. Look at that thread. there's a forum. It's called blenderartist.org. If you register on this site, you'll be able to download this one here, Space View 3D BMax. So that's only you don't need only the Python add-on script. You can just click it, download it, unzip it, and install it the same way I did this. So if I already installed it on my machine, so BMax 3 View is already installed. Okay, so if you install it, then enable it. Okay, right. Okay, let's go to, once you have done all this, you should set save user settings. So the next time you start Blender, it'll have the user settings automatically loaded. Okay, this is the Blender's default scene. You get a camera, you get a cube, and you get a piece of light. In this case, it's a lamp. It's called a lamp, and you don't really need it for modeling. It's just nice to see Blender works, and the way Blender works, it's nice to have light, because then you can look at your object. Without light, you won't see it. So I just leave it as it is, and I just work on this model itself. So I can just left click on the object, and I need to tell you more about window management on this Blender thing. The way you can add windows. First, let me tell you about these little things here. You get these two arrows. You can slide them up and down, or left and right. You can try and do that yourself, because this is the overview of your scene. You've got a camera, like I said, a cube, and a lamp. You can just left click it, the lamp, and if it bothers you that they're in your scene, you can just press this view button here, and this lamp, you just remove it. Not remove it, but it's not visible anymore in your scene here. So you can do this, and you can also do the left pane, make it wider like that. You can also add a window like this in the corner here. When it is across, you can do this, right? And now you can change this view by in the bottom left here to, for instance, the outliner. This is called the outliner, but now you have it here, right? So you use that in the coming hour. You'll use this a lot. So back to 3D view, and if you want to collapse this window, you can go to the same corner you used. When it is across, you left click it and then drag it to the right. So I'm holding the left mouse, and then you see a arrow here. That means you can close the window. So this is how you can do basic window management. I'm going to show you one more thing here. This is used for making videos. We don't want that. So we click this little left thing here, and oh no, I dragged it to the right. I shouldn't do that. I can now click this and drag it to the left, so it closes, and this should be dragged downward. Okay, now it's gone. Now I don't have this extra thingy at the bottom, so I can just focus on 3D modeling. Okay, there are more things to do inside Blender, but I have to tell you more about the materials property. If I select this cube, I've got this little globe here. I press it, and there's automatically a material added to the object. You need to apply materials to every object you make that you want to import inside a tool like Unity or Unreal Engine, because without a material, it's basically only geometry, and that's not what you want to use inside a game engine. You would like to make this cube made out of a certain material. So I'm gonna use this is the standard shader. It's called the diffuse shader, and diffuse is just only showing color when light is emitted upon it. So it doesn't really transfer a lot of light back. So this is called diffuse, and I can change the color to red. You can do that yourself. So this is now red, and as you can see in the viewport, this is called the viewport, it's also red. I can go to render image, and here you can see the camera, what the camera registers, the camera view. It's a red cube. That's not difficult. Okay, let's have some specularity. Now just have it emit a lot more. Have it reflect a lot more light. It's not visible, but I'm going to go into different maps later on in the workshop. This is the diffuse shader, and we are going to export this object to a game engine. File, export FBX. Yes, that's the preferred export thingy, the export format you can use for Unreal Engine and Unity. I already made something in, I'm just going to call it Blender Lesson 1 of for the Makelab FBX. Just give it a name and put it somewhere where you know where it's put. In this case, it's in my documents. Export FBX. All right. I forgot to tell you one thing. Export FBX. And there's a little here. You need export FBX. In these options, you need to press this one, selected objects. If you don't do this, all the other objects like a camera and a light will also be exported in the FBX files. And you don't want that. So you just make sure you press selected objects, export FBX. Okay. Now we can go to our, let's start with Unity. Unity is quite fast. Let's make this lesson 1. Something like that. Just create an empty project. You don't need to import anything else. I just want to show you how you can import the FBXs and the FBX files inside the Unity engine. So go to Assets, Import New Asset. Okay, and here we have Blender Lesson 1 for the Makelab. Okay, just import it. And here we go. It automatically, if you open this, it says there's some geometry in there. This one you can drag into the scene here, or you can drag into the directly into the scene, but that's all about how you can do Unity things. This cube here is now red, so it looks easy, but what Unity did behind the scenes is import that FBX file and made a material under this materials map, and this material is called material, and it has the color red, and it has a diffuse shader. So it's a standard shader, that's a diffuse shader. We'll be going into more detail with different shaders later on in the course, but for now, yeah, this is the most simple shader you can have, a diffuse shader, and its color is red. Right, so this works in Unity. We just now press play. It doesn't do much, so yeah, there's no behavior inside this Unity thing in this game now. But anyway, here we have it. So let's quit Unity and start Unreal Engine, because the Unreal Engine also has something you can use to import assets. I already logged in into Unity, and I can launch the 4.7.6 engine. Because I'm gonna make a new project, everything is the same, lesson 1, there we go, Makelab 2, something I already have. So leave everything as a default and just create project. Just change the name and then create project. Okay, we're back. Right, this is the default level. You can just press play, difficult word. Okay, it works. Escape, you can come out of this mode. I'm going to import inside this content directory, import, and I'm going to go to the place to be. Here we go, documents, Blender lesson 1. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's the same FBX. You have different options here. I'm not going to go into details here. You can just press import all. It'll start complaining about stuff, but don't worry about it. These are 2 warnings. That's also okay. And we have our little Blender lesson here, our little object. And it also created a material called material. You can now drag this in to the scene. It's very small, so I'm going to go and select and scale. It's the R key, and I can just make it larger. Okay, just press the W key to move it up a bit. And here we have it. We have the same cube inside this game engine, and it automatically got a collider attached to it, so I cannot walk through it. But it shows you how you can easily import these assets built in Blender into Unity or Unreal Engine. Next lesson we'll dive into more detail.